Have you ever stared at a world map and noticed something strange about Turkey? It's one of the few countries that straddle two continents, divided by the sparkling waters of the Bosphorus Strait in Istanbul. Walk out of a cafe on one side of the city, cross a bridge, and suddenly your lunch is in another continent. It's famous, it's romantic, and honestly, it's almost magical. But here's the thing. Turkey is not alone. That split identity trick of geography isn't a one-time wonder. There are at least two other countries where continents collide in ways that shape history, culture, and even the global economy: Russia and Egypt. And their stories are far bigger, more dramatic, and in some ways, stranger than Turkey's cafe-to-cafe stroll across the Bosphorus. Turkey's charm is obvious. A city alive with history, markets, and mosques, sitting on both sides of Europe and Asia. But Russia and Egypt aren't just about a single city or strait. Their continental duality spans thousands of miles, ancient mountains, deserts, and even human-made canals that change the way the world works. This isn't just geography, it's power, identity, and human ingenuity all colliding with the planet's natural design. Let's start with the giant, Russia. It's the biggest country on Earth, so immense it feels almost incomprehensible. Flying from Moscow to Vladivostok takes over 10 hours, and even then, you're barely scratching the surface of its sheer size. Now imagine trying to draw a line down that mammoth landmass to separate Europe from Asia. It's not a gentle river or a narrow strait. Instead, the boundary is the Ural Mountains, a worn, ancient chain stretching over 2,000 kilometers from north to south. For centuries, these mountains have been the natural border dividing two continents, quietly standing while empires, armies, and travelers crossed their slopes. But here's a question that flips your mind. What is it like to live right on that invisible continental line? Step west into European Russia, and you're in the land of Moscow and St. Petersburg, cities steeped in culture, politics, and European history. Streets lined with palaces, museums, and cafes where literature and revolution once collided, the heart of a country that looks and feels European in every sense. This is where most Russians live, where the economy hums with life, and where the political pulse of the nation beats strongest. Yet in terms of land, Europe is just a tiny fraction of Russia. Cross the Urals and everything changes. Welcome to Asian Russia, Siberia. Here the scale is staggering. Endless taiga forests, rivers that carve paths like arteries, permafrost that locks the ground in ice for centuries. This is the land of extremes, sparsely populated, with cities like Vladivostok lying thousands of kilometers from Moscow. Life here is a struggle and an adventure, shaped by climate, distance, and the sheer challenge of surviving in a land so vast that the human footprint is almost invisible. Siberia is rich in natural resources: oil, gas, minerals. But it's a place where nature dominates every human decision. The contrast between European Russia and Siberia is so dramatic that one could feel they are crossing into another world entirely, yet politically and culturally, it's still one country. Russia is a single nation stretched across two continents like a bridge, a body connecting two wildly different worlds. Imagine living in a city like Yekaterinburg, right in the middle of the Urals. Do you feel European, Asian, or just Russian? For most people there, the answer is the last one, an identity forged by being on the seam of two worlds. Now let's leave the frozen mountains behind and journey south to a place of sun, sand, and history. Egypt. Most people think of the Nile, the pyramids, and the deserts of Africa. That's accurate, but if you look at a map carefully, you'll notice a little triangle of land jutting to the northeast, the Sinai Peninsula. That's Egypt's Asian foot. Unlike Turkey, where nature built a strait, Egypt's split is both ancient and modern. Sinai is geographically part of Asia, a rugged land of mountains, beaches, and deserts, historically serving as a bridge between Africa and the Middle East. It's where armies marched, traders crossed, and civilizations met. And separating African Egypt from Asian Egypt? The Suez Canal, a human-made marvel dug through desert sand just over 150 years ago. This wasn't just a ditch, it was a revolution. Before it existed, ships traveling from Europe to Asia had to sail around the tip of Africa, a journey that took months. With the canal, the world shrank overnight. Geography itself was rewritten. Suddenly, Egypt controlled a lifeline through which goods, wealth, and power flowed. A modern canal became a continental boundary, and a symbol of human ingenuity. Picture the first ship sailing through the newly dug canal, cutting across the desert and linking two continents. People watching must have realized they weren't witnessing just commerce, they were watching the rewriting of geography itself. Think about the human perspective. For a Russian farmer in the Urals, the European and Asian halves of their country are invisible lines. Life is dictated by the soil, the seasons, and the rhythm of survival. Meanwhile, an Egyptian engineer standing on the Suez Canal watches ships move between continents in real time, connecting Europe, Asia, and beyond. One is a line drawn by mountains, the other by human determination, but both are equally vital in shaping how their countries interact with the world. Turkey, Russia, and Egypt each highlight a different lesson about continents. Turkey is about the intimate, tangible experience of living on two continents at once. You can cross a bridge and feel it. Russia is about epic scale, where one body holds the political heart in Europe, but sprawls massively across Asia. Egypt is about human will, cutting through geography to control the flow of global commerce and define its strategic importance. Each of these countries is a bridge, a connector, a place where continents aren't just abstract concepts. They are lived, experienced, and used. This isn't just trivia. It's a reminder that the maps we study in school, with continents neatly colored and borders clearly defined, are, well, simplifications. The real world is messy, complicated, and full of surprises. Borders are not always wide oceans. They can be quiet mountain ranges, sparkling canals, or bustling city streets leading to ferries. They are lived experiences, shaping identity, economy, and culture. And honestly, they are often more fascinating than the textbook version. So, the next time you glance at a map, just pause for a moment. See if you can spot where one continent ends and another begins within a single country. Imagine the lives of those who straddle these lines, literally or even figuratively. Picture walking from Europe into Asia, from Africa into Asia, or maybe just from city to city across natural and man-made boundaries. These aren't just lines. They are stories of exploration, survival, power, and honestly, a lot of ingenuity. Geography here is more than just a fact. It is history, identity, and adventure, all rolled into one. Turkey's famous continental split, well, that's only the beginning. Russia's vast, frozen duality shows the staggering scale of a country spread across worlds. Egypt's human-made connection between continents really demonstrates how ingenuity can bend geography to our will. Together, they teach us that belonging to a continent is rarely simple. It's about land, culture, economy, history, and sometimes, sheer human audacity. When you imagine a continental border, think beyond the textbook. Think of the mountains and deserts that divide continents, the canals humans dug to reshape trade, the cities that feel like bridges, and the people who grow up living in two worlds at once. These countries prove that borders are more than lines. They are experiences, shaping nations in profound ways. And that's the real lesson. The world is not neatly divided. It's fluid, surprising, and full of seams where different continents, histories, and cultures meet. Each of these intersections is a story waiting to be discovered. Russia, Egypt, Turkey, they aren't just on two continents. They are living proof that the lines on our maps are just the beginning of the story. Step closer, look deeper, and you realize the planet is far more connected and far more fascinating than it seems. So the next time you see a map, don't just skim it. Pause. Look for the seams. See where two continents meet, where history was shaped by mountains, canals, and human ambition. Step into the perspective of someone living on that line. Walk across it, in imagination, if not in reality, and feel the invisible currents of culture, politics, and identity flowing beneath your feet. Because these places remind us that geography is not just a fact to memorize. It is a story, a mystery, and a bridge between worlds. If this journey across continents surprised you, be sure to hit that like button. It helps more curious minds discover these incredible geographic stories. Subscribe to the channel and tap the bell to make sure you don't miss our next exploration into the hidden, fascinating truths of our planet. And share this with someone who loves maps, history, or mind-bending geography. Because the world isn't just bigger than you think, it's stranger, wilder, and more interconnected than any map could ever show.
Meow.